What's up, everybody? Today it's time for Cars for Sale in Japan, Part 6. I know a lot of you really enjoy the Cars for Sale in Japan series, so we're going to take a walk around these parking lots out here and take a look at what they have for sale. We have been to these dealerships a couple times before, but like I said, new inventory every couple months, so there's going to be new cars out here. I'm not going to show any of the stuff I've already showed. So y'all let me know if you like these kinds of videos, and I'm going to keep doing them. Let's get started. First off, we have the Nissan Stasia, the RB26 GTR wagon, basically. We talked about that in Cars for Sale in Japan Part 2, I believe. I'll link that video right now in the top right corner of your screen. Let's keep moving on. I believe we also had this Supra in Cars for Sale in Japan Part 2. So we're gonna skip past that. The Galant VR4 also was in Part 2. Gonna have to go back and watch that one, but this FC RX-7 is a new one for us. I have not seen this one out here. Got the red Volk racing wheels. GTR. Please excuse all the crazy road noise behind me. This is a 1991 RX-7. They're asking $13,200 for. That is a little bit on the pricey side for me, but it doesn't seem to be in that bad of condition. There's the whole report on it. See tin right there, so it's probably got some tin coilovers. There's the Volk wheels, the GT wing. Kind of hard to see inside. Got a Momo wheel in there. So a lot of the cars you see in these lots close to military bases, which the military base is right over there, are a little bit jacked up in price if they're older than 25 years old, since US import laws are 25 years old, anything goes. So these dealers over here know that, so anything that is older than 25 gets the price jacked up quite a bit. Not sure if y'all can see in there, there's a roll cage, a Bride driver's seat, and a Recaro passenger seat. Not a bad looking car, but I wouldn't spend $13,000 on it. Over here we have the RX-8. Pretty factory looking. Automatic. This one is an 03. They're asking $9,500 US for. Now this next one is something special and something very dear to my heart, the Nissan Pulsar GTI-R. Beautiful Pulsar in the color black. Definitely needs a good wash though. This is a 1991 Pulsar GTI-R, $11,900 US, which really isn't a terrible price for these at all. They have the SR20 in there. Obviously it turns sideways. I actually had my chance at driving one of these and did a little review video on one, but I've yet to get all the good footage for it, so I'm not ready to publish that video yet. But I love these little cars. A lot of people compare them to a kind of like a mini Godzilla. Got the rally lights in the front. I really do love these cars, and one day probably will own one. Next, moving over to this 180SX, but we did feature that in a previous video as well. I'm gonna skip on over it. Next we have the 86, but I believe this is also the one that was featured in a previous video. They had a couple out here, but I think they must have sold the one that I never got on video. Pretty cool car. It's a little beat up and they're asking a little too much for it, but we're not going to spend much time on that because we did feature it before. But any of those who haven't seen it, it's $15,900 for that car, which is a little much. Next though, we briefly touched on this one last time as I walked by the dealership in Cars for Sale in Japan Part 5. 1995 Nissan Fairlady Z for $7,900 US. I've always wanted to own one of these as well when I was younger. But when you look in the engine bay of one of these, you will never want to work on one. And this one is a automatic. Blancs, not really sure on that name brand wheel. Not a bad looking car, and for $7,900 it's not a bad price. It's not old enough to go back to the States yet, so that's why the price hasn't gone crazy up or anything. I think it would clean up and look real nice with that blue paint job that's on it. Next, we're over to a 1998 Toyota Mark II for $6,500 US. The work wheels. It's funny how so many cars over here have custom wheels, even just like minivans and stuff. This is the Tour V model. I believe that means it has the 1JZ in it. Also an automatic. Too big of a car for me here in Okinawa. Over here we have a little 2001 Subaru Impreza. Nothing real special. I believe we even touched on this one in a previous video. So we're gonna move on. The Toyota Altezza, a Chaser, and a Miata. And if you're here in Okinawa and part of Oki Monsters, you know about that Miata. I'm just gonna leave that at that. And over here we have a really nice 89 Soarer for $7,900. I really do like the Soarers. Today is January 2nd here in Japan. The Japanese take the New Year's a lot more seriously than we do in the US, and most of their businesses are closed for the first 3 or 4 days of the year. So I'm trying to take advantage of that and not being hassled by salesmen and take a look at some of these dealerships for y'all. Now we were down here at little GTR for you. But now we're over here at Ride Over Automaster, and let's take a look at this 350Z over here. This is pretty cool. It's got the Motul livery on it. Nissan livery, whichever. Datsun. I'm not really familiar with this actual scheme, so I don't know if this was one of the race cars they've had in the past. But it looks like it's got the Rocket Bunny type fenders on there. Nice titanium exhaust. This one they are asking 1.4 million yen. So that's around, it's probably around 13,000 US dollars. It is an 03 Fairlady Z 3.5 version, obviously. Deep dish wheels. Hard to see the interior, but there's a Recaro seat in the driver's seat and something else in the passenger. It has some 225 60 16s all the way around. Some Brembo brakes on there. It's actually a really cool car. I really like it. Super clean. Now this dealership does have some other stuff too, some more VIP looking stuff. Got an Infiniti M35, an M45. I'm not super familiar with all the more high-end luxury cars, so I'm not gonna talk stupid about them and act like I know what I'm talking about. But it does say the Nissan Fuga 350 GT Sports Package. It's the year 2004, and they want around 9,000 US dollars for that. which looks like a good deal for what condition it's in. Then there's a Toyota Crown over here, 2008. Asking around $16,000 for that. Another Crown. I know a lot of people are a big fan of these cars. This is the Crown Athlete. Then over here, Lexus GS 350, yep. Now this Lexus IS 250, I do like that. That looks really good. And then another Fuga 350 GT over here. Now we're at a different portion of Ride Over. This is where in one of the Cars for Sale videos there was a bunch of 8.6s inside. They do have it closed off today though for the holiday, but they do have a few interesting cars sitting outside I want to show y'all. Now I know most of y'all are pretty used to seeing this, F-150. Nothing special in the States, but kind of cool in Japan. It is a 1998. They're asking $12,000 US for. Got the billet grill. Gotta have NASCAR stickers on an American car. Now something kind of special is this Toyota Mark II wagon. I have not a lot of knowledge on these either. It says it is the 2.0 LG Grandit edition. It's a 1994 that they want $5,842 US for. It looks really cool though. I like the old school style wheels on it with the 195/60 14s. I think it's pretty cool. Now they do have two different prices on here, a US dollar price and a yen. And the yen does seem to be less. That's a really cool car though. Then there's a Lexus GS 350 here. F Sport. Super clean looking car. It's about a $36,000 car. Definitely has some higher end cars over here. Crown. Got a Nissan pickup though. A Nissan Datsun for around $5,800 US. And a Toyota Helix for $9,700 US. Gotta have the white lettering on there. It's actually got the NASCAR tires on there, it says. Now we're back out at Dream Run. We've been here before as well. You guys might remember this Evo from the last video. But there's a couple other cars that I missed that weren't out here last time. I'm gonna show you guys. The first one being this 2001 Evo 7. I don't know where they had this one put away last time I was over here, but I did not see it. It's a beautiful car. Got the carbon Kevlar hood with the carbon fiber vents. Some carbon fiber canards down here. They're asking around $13,000 US for this car. It's got the T37 SLs. Looks like a carbon fiber trunk that might need a little refinishing. Here is the full list of what is done to it. Eagle pistons and connecting rods, Tomei 260 cams, full racing Berg Warner S200XX, 1050cc injectors. There's a lot done to this. I could spend 10 minutes going over this mod list. I'll just try to get up close enough to all of it so you guys can pause and read all of it if you want to. That is actually a really good looking Evo. I really like the way those SLs look. I don't really see much else here to feature. There's a Nissan Skyline, the G37. I think that one actually might have been in the last video. An Escalade. It's kind of a little rare for Japan. Asking around $13,000 for that. And they have a lot of nice cars here as well, but only those few JDM ones that I've already shown. There's the Evo from the last video. Talked about the S15 last video. Another Crown, and I've mentioned the 350 before as well. I'm just gonna keep this rolling while I walk to show you some random cars around Japan. Got a Subaru getting it out the gate. A couple other cars, I believe we touched on these before. G35 or Nissan Skyline, however you want to look at it. And I don't know if we've actually mentioned this one before, but this is a Toyota Soarer 1JZ twin turbo. I really like the Soarers, and I don't think we've mentioned this one before. I apologize if we have. This is actually a really clean, mostly factory looking Soarer. This might even be factory BBSs. I know a lot of the Toyotas came with factory BBSs. I really do like the Soarer. Onward we go though. It's another car lot over here. Usually they don't have a lot of the cooler stuff in this lot just because it's kind of behind the road, not very visible. But they do have a WRX over here. It's got the STI wing, but I know that's not the STI. It's an 03. They're asking $7,400 for it. I don't know if you can see through the dirty windows, but it is an automatic. I do like that factory Momo steering wheel though. Nonchalant S15 hanging out. I hope y'all don't mind visiting some of the same dealerships over and over again. I do not go back there unless they have new inventory though, so hopefully it's still something you guys enjoy seeing. I go to those few dealerships because they are close to the base, so it doesn't really take a long time to get to. And when I don't have a lot of time but still want to make a video for y'all of something new, it's really easy to just go off the base 5 minutes away and have some cool cars to show y'all. Now we are walking away from most of the dealerships. We're heading down towards the seawall where I'm going to meet Megan and Mason. It's a beautiful 75-degree January day, so I'm trying to get some family time in before I have to go back to work in a couple days. But I'm going to continue to hold this and see if we spot any cool cars on the way. Now I'm not going to go in this lot because last time I got in trouble for going in a lot like this. But there's a R32 and an S15 over there. I had a video up for about 4 to 5 hours maybe a few months ago. It was about abandoned cars in Japan. It turned out the cars weren't really abandoned, but they were just sitting in a lot kind of getting overgrown with grass, and I videoed them. But the local guy who owns the cars saw the video and wasn't too happy I was in his lot and asked me to take it down, so I did. So I'm not going to do any more of those random what I think are abandoned car lots videos until I'm sure I know who the owner is. Tegra Type R. R33 GTR. This is not an area highly known for modded cars or anything. I'm just walking down the street and this is the kind of stuff I get to see. Granted, it is close to a military base, so obviously there's a lot of Americans that do buy sports cars. Still, I see this kind of stuff just walking down the normal street. Police! Beautiful East China Sea. We've almost made it to our destination. Posted an Instagram picture earlier and Subi Skyline 34 commented, "Did you get the motor?" Good question. I have not picked up the motor yet. The storage place where the motor is being stored is currently closed for the New Year's. Like I said, they take off the first 3 or 4 days of the new year, so it should be the 4th or the 5th maybe before I can make it over to the storage unit and hopefully take a look and purchase the motor. And then after I purchase it, it's going to be a matter of getting a forklift or getting something to pick it up and finding some way to transport the motor, because I don't have a car that can do that. I'm going to have to look into maybe renting a truck or something like that. We'll see. And then it probably won't happen all by next weekend, and then the following weekend after that is Tokyo Auto Salon, so we're probably looking at another 2 to 3 weeks before the motor starts going in the car, honestly. So I just fell coming down the side of the seawall and busted my butt. Luckily I had this lens protector on here because it completely shattered that. That would have definitely been my lens if I didn't have this protector over it. Don't cheap out, get a protector even over your GoPro. With that being said, this is the end of the video. I made it out to where my family is at now. They're just down the ways a little bit on the seawall. We're out here, it's low tide on the East China Sea. Gonna do a little bit of searching for sea animals and seashells and stuff like that. Spend the rest of the day out here with the family. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, it was a lot of the same dealerships. Let me know if you guys are okay with those kind of videos. I don't want to put out stuff that you're not going to watch and that's just redundant and boring, but there were new cars. I didn't really show many of the cars that I've shown before. So you guys just let me know if these are the type of videos you still want to see when I can't make it to new dealerships. Thank you all so much for the support. I keep looking down so I don't bust my butt again. I go back to work in a couple days, so the videos are going to slow down just a little bit, but I do have Cars and Coffee coming up this weekend, and then the weekend after that is Tokyo Auto Salon, the big week. Gonna have lots of coverage from that. Thank you all so much for the constant support with the channel, the likes, the comments, the subscriptions. It's really awesome, and as always, thanks for watching.